Good morning, dear students of HSC first year. Welcome back to my online class. Hope you all are hale and hearty by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am Muhammad Amir Sadat, Assistant Professor of English, and after a long vacation we meet again, and I hope you have enjoyed Eid al-Adha festival, maintaining all health and sanitization rules. Still, we have not found any favorable condition to open our educational institutions. For this reason, we have arranged this online class. Today, I will deliver a lecture on Unit 4, Lesson 1. And the title of Unit 4 is Traffic Education, and the title of the lesson is How Your Brain Negotiates Traffic. And from the very title, you may guess that today we will discuss on traffic education, traffic system, and traffic jam in our country, especially in Dhaka city. While you drive a car or a motorcycle or any other vehicle, your brain works silently. Here, brain is compared with CPU. CPU means Central Processing Unit, and here brain is compared with computer brain. So you can find a differentiation between human brain and computer brain. An expert driver, while driving, looks around to avoid any unexpected phenomena. He remains cool if even he encounters any horrible situation. He behaves well with other drivers on the roads. So, while drive, you have to keep your brain cool. And when your brain will keeping cool, then there will be no accident. And the driver is driven by his conscience. Here conscience help you to tackle or to manage any kind of unfavorable situation in the road. And you know that our country has a lot of problems, a lot of reasons for traffic jam. Our streets are narrow, our vehicles are slow like rickshaw, and our road have a lot of pedestrians. For this reason, there is a lot of traffic jam in our country. And while drive, you should not blur. You should not blur in your driving seat. For today's class, you will know the traffic education. I have made a slide presentation for today's class for your better understanding the passage. So let's go to the slide presentation.
Well, dear learners, before going to discuss from text, let's have a look on today's class outline. From today's class, you may know Unit 4, Lesson 1. I will read thoroughly Unit 4, Lesson 1 with annotation and explanation. Then, after reading the passage, I will discuss the summary of the passage. Then, vocabulary. I have made a vocabulary for you for your better understanding. Then choose the best answer for practice. Then clause test with clues for practice, and clause test without clues for practice from the text, and some open-ended questions. And now we will start the text. Unit 4, and the heading of this unit is Traffic Education, and the title of the lesson is How Your Brain Negotiates Traffic. Okay, here you can see the text and a picture of traffic jam in Bangladesh, and especially in Dhaka. Now we will read the text, and there will be some question after reading the text. When you are in the driving seat of a car, you have the steering and the horn in your hands, the brake and accelerator under your feet, eyes open, looking ahead, left and right. That means you have to imagine that now you are driving a car, and you are now sitting in a driving seat, and you have steering and horn in your hands, and brake and accelerator under your feet, and your eyes are open, and you are driving a car. And the same can be said about a motorcycle rider with some modifications. These all are very visible, but behind all there is something that keeps working unseen. Okay, what is that unseen? When you imagine that your brake and your accelerator under your feet, your eyes are open, steering and horn is in your hand, but after about all this, you have a unseen thing which is working, and that is the central processing unit, that is CPU. Your brain is compared here with CPU. CPUs are artificially intelligent machines that are programmed to do specific jobs under fixed conditions and judgments. So brain is the main unseen thing which is working while you are driving. But the human brain is intelligent by nature. Here you can see a picture of human brain, and there are 6 parts of human brain: cerebellum, occipital lobe, parietal lobe, frontal lobe, temporal lobe, and spinal cord. So these are the parts of human brain, and while you drive a car or a motorcycle or some other vehicles, your brain is working. It is the most sophisticated machine that is able to operate on ever-changing conditions and standards of judgment. As conditions in the traffic keep invariably changing, this virtue of sophistication of your brain must be at work when you are driving. Okay, while you are driving, your brain is working and your brain is always changing, and when in different situation you are driving, your brain will work. And the difference between traffic in the roads and highways and racing circuit must not be blurring inside you. And while driving, you have to drive on road, you have to drive on highway road, or you have to drive in racing circuit, but always your brain is working in behind all these type of roads. And never imagine yourself to be a Michael Schumacher driving an F1 at 300 miles per hour. Here you can see a picture of Michael Schumacher, and he was a racing car driver, and he drives 300 miles per hour. So while drive, you should not imagine yourself as Michael. You have to drive according to your own way, according to your own level, according to your own speed, and you should not cross the level of speed and leave no room for fantasy. There is a very important line: leave no room for fantasy. So while you drive, you should not make any imagination, you should not go to the fantasy world, you should not go to the imaginary world, because it may cause accident. You must always be ready to encounter unexpected behavior from any vehicle or pedestrian. You must always be ready. That means while you drive on the road, there will be some unexpected behavior from any pedestrian, there will be unexpected behavior from any vehicles, but you should be always ready. You should keep your brain always cool while drive on road. Keep your cool is easy to advise but difficult to maintain. I repeat, keep your cool is easy to advise but difficult to maintain. Here, keep your cool means keep your brain cool. While drive, you should keep your brain cool. You should keep your brain and mind cool so that you should avoid any kind of accident on road. Still, you must always restrain yourself, because at the end of the day, you don't want to be regarded as a killer. And now you see, the last thing that differentiates you from a computer is your conscience. So there is a difference between machine and human being. The machine has no conscience, but human being has conscience, and this conscience will help you to avoid any kind of accident or any kind of unavoidable situation. So now there is a summary of the passage. I have made a summary of the passage for your better understanding, and I always advise you to read the text thoroughly. With the help of the text, you can write some MCQ questions. You can answer clause test with clues, without clues, rearrange, and some open-ended questions. So passage is very important. Thoroughly, you should read thoroughly the passage. Now the summary of the passage is that an expert driver while driving looks all around to avoid any unexpected phenomena. He remains cool if even he encounters any horrible situation. He behaves well with other drivers on the roads. By controlling his nerves, he drives. He never leaves any room for fantasy. I have discussed already that while driving, you should not go to the imaginary world or fantasy world or any kind of imagination. This will cause any kind of accident. So while drive, you should be very careful, very careful. He is driven by his conscience, and he can make the difference between a vehicle on a public road and a racing car on a racing circuit. He never blurs inside him, and there is a difference between computer brain and human brain. So this is the summary of the passage. You can also write in your own way, but I have given a sample how to write a summary of the passage. Now there is a vocabulary for you. I have made a vocabulary for your better understanding. The first word is steering. Steering is a noun. Its Bengali meaning is porichalona, the action of steering a vehicle. Visible. Visible is an adjective. Its Bengali meaning is drishyaman. Its English meaning is able to be seen. So visible means able to be seen. Intelligent. It's an adjective. Its Bengali meaning is buddhiman, and its English meaning is having or showing intelligence. Program. Program is a verb. Its Bengali meaning is computer nirdeshona sarbaraha kora, and its English meaning is provide with coded instruction, especially for computer. Specific is an adjective. Its Bengali meaning is sunirdishto, and its English meaning is clearly defined or identified. Judgment is a noun, and its Bengali meaning is shubibechona, and its English meaning is the ability to make considered decisions. Sophisticated is an adjective. Its Bengali meaning is ottadhunik, and its English meaning is developed to a high degree of complexity. Operate is a verb. Its Bengali meaning is chalano, and its English meaning is control the functioning of a machine, process or system. So operate means to control the functioning of a machine or process or system. Then invariably is an adverb, and batikrom bhabe, and its English meaning is in every case or on every occasion. Then circuit is noun. Its Bengali meaning is prodokhin path, and its English meaning is the line going around or bounding any area or object. Then blur is a verb, and its Bengali meaning is ashposhto ba durbodh kora. Its English meaning is make or become unclear or less distinct. And then imagine is a verb, and its Bengali meaning is kalpana kora ba mone kora, to form a mental image. So imagine means to form a mental image. Fantasy means olik kalpana. It is a noun, and its English meaning is the faculty or activity of imagining impossible or improbable things. encounter is a verb and its Bengali meaning is বিপদের মুখোমুখি হওয়া, unexpectedly be faced with something hostile. So encounter means unexpectedly be faced with something hostile. Now dear learners, choose the correct answer from the alternatives. I have made some MCQ questions for you for practice. Question 1: what might happen if the brake of a vehicle fails? Option 1: it will accelerate the speed of the vehicle. Option 2: it will decrease the speed of the vehicle. Option 3: it will stop the vehicle. And option 4: the vehicle might face an accident. So which will be the correct answer? If you read the test thoroughly, and I think that this type of question you can answer very easily. So which will be the correct answer? I think option 4 is the correct answer. The vehicle might face an accident. So what might happen if the brake of a vehicle fails? Answer is the vehicle might face an accident. So option 4 is the correct answer. Now question B: how do a car and motorcycle differ in respect of brake and accelerator? Option 1: they do not differ, so they are same. Option 2: the former's one are feet controlled while the latter's one are hands controlled. Option 3: the former's one are hands controlled while the latter's one are feet controlled. Option 4: they differ and the point of difference is not mentioned. So which will be the correct answer? How do a car and motorcycle differ in respect of brake and accelerator? I think option B is the correct answer. The former ones are feet control, that is car is feet control, and while the latter's one are hands control, that is motorcycle is hand control. Now question C: why has the human brain been called central processing unit, CPU? Option 1: because the brain is in the central part of a human body. Option 2: because the brain is exactly in the center of a human body. Option 3: because the brain is the center of all activities. And option 4: all the three answers are wrong. So why has the human brain been called central processing unit? Which will be the correct answer? I think option 3 is correct answer, because the brain is the center of all activities. Brain is the center of all activities, so it is compared, or it is called CPU. Question D: human brain is the most sophisticated machine because. Human brain is the most sophisticated machine because option 1: it can adjust well even in a change situation. Option 2: it is a replaceable thing. Option 3: it is the latest machine. And option 4: it is the perpetually developing device capable of meeting the ever increasing demands or situations. So which will be the correct answer? For option 4 is the correct answer, and it is the perpetually developing device capable of meeting the ever increasing demands of situations. So option 4 is the correct answer for question D. Now question E: fantasy is a bad thing because. Option 1: it compels an individual to set unlimited targets. Option 2: the fancy ideas often become very costly. Option 3: it becomes very difficult to implement fantasized ideas. And option 4: it makes an individual impractical in real life. So which will be the correct answer? The fantasy is a bad thing because option 4 I think is the correct answer. Fantasy is a bad thing because it makes an individual impractical in real life. Here is the solution to question 1. I would like to request my students to write down the answers in your khatas. Question A is vehicle might face an accident. For question B, option 2 is the correct answer. The former ones are feet control while the latter one are hands control. For question C, option 3 is the correct answer because the brain is the center of all activities. For question D, option 4 is the correct answer. It is the perpetually developing device capable of meeting the ever-increasing demands of situations. And for question E, option 4 is the correct answer. It makes an individual impractical in real life. Now I have made some more MCQ questions for your better understanding, for practicing. And question F, what can be the correct title of this paragraph? My dear learners, we have already read the text thoroughly, so we should answer the question, what can be the correct title of this paragraph? Option 1, superiority of natural intelligence. Option 2, the ever developing human brain. Option 3, human brain. And option 4, any one of the previous 3 choices. So I think option 4 is the correct answer, any one of the previous 3 choices, because maybe superiority of natural intelligence, it may be the title of the paragraph. The ever developing human brain, it is also a fine title for this paragraph. Human brain, it may be also the title of this paragraph. So answer 4 is the correct answer, any one of the previous 3 choices. Now question G, what could be the closest meaning for steering in the first sentence? What could be the closest meaning for steering? Option 1, driving. Option 2, control. Option 3, be in the driver's seat. And option 4, the machinery in a vehicle used to control the direction it goes in. So I think option 4 is the correct answer. The closest meaning for steering is the machinery in a vehicle used to control the direction it goes in. So option 4 is the correct answer for question G. Now question H, the word accelerator in line 2 refers to. Option 1, a device for increasing speed. Option 2, speed up. Option 3, an instrument for measuring acceleration, especially of an aircraft or rocket. And option 4 is speeding up. So which will be the correct answer? I think option 1 is the correct answer. Accelerator means a device for increasing speed. A device for increasing speed. Now question I, horn is required while driving a vehicle because option 1, it is a part of driving. Option 2, it makes a driver expert in driving. Option 3, it is used to make a loud noise as a warning or signal to other people or vehicles. And option 4, it is used to inform others that you are driving a vehicle. So which will be the correct answer for question I? I think option 3 is the correct answer. Horn is required while driving because it is used to make a loud noise as a warning or signal to other people or vehicles. So option 3 is the correct answer for question I. Now question J, what could be the closest meaning for conscience in the last sentence? Option 1, principles. Option 2, judgment. Option 3, alert and awake. And option 4, the sense of right and wrong that governs a person's thoughts and actions. I think option 4 is the correct answer. Conscience means the sense of right and wrong that governs a person's thoughts and actions. Now question K, when can a person have the steering wheel in his hands? When can a person have the steering wheel in his hands? Option 1, while buying a vehicle. Option 2, while driving. Option 3, while cleaning a vehicle. Option 4, while inspecting. So I think number 2, option 2 is the correct answer, while driving. When can a person have the steering wheel in his hands? While driving. While driving, a person can have the steering wheel in his hands. So option 2 is the correct answer for question K. Here is the solution to more MCQ questions, and I also request my learners to write down the answers in your khatas. Question F, answer is option 4, any one of the previous 3 choices. We have already discussed it earlier. For question G, option 4 is the correct answer. The machinery in a vehicle used to control the direction it goes in. For question H, option 1 is the correct answer, a device for increasing speed. For question I, option 3 is the correct answer, it is used to make a loud noise as a warning or signal to other people or vehicles. For question J, option 4 is the correct answer, the sense of right and wrong that governs a person's thoughts and actions. And for question K, option 2 is the correct answer, while driving. Now we'll move for our next question. Next question is fill in the gaps with suitable words from the list. It also called clause test with clues. There are 10 clues. At first you have to understand the clues, then you have to fill in the gaps with the help of these clues. There are 10 clues: visible, blurring, artificially, invariably, modifications, driving, nature, sophisticated, ahead, and judgments. These are the clues. You have to understand the clues and then try to answer. Now I will read the passage, and this passage is from your text, and as I have previously said, the text is very important. From your text you may get with clues, without clues, then MCQ questions, etc. So when you are in a driving seat of a car, you have the steering and the horn in your hands and the brake and accelerator under your feet. Eyes open, looking gap A, left and right. So which will be the correct answer for gap A? Here ahead will be the correct answer. So I repeat the line. When you are in the driving seat of a car, you have the steering and the horn in your hands, the brake and accelerator under your feet, eyes open, looking ahead. So for gap A, ahead is the correct answer. Then left and right. The same can be said about a motorcycle rider with some gap B. Which will be the correct answer for gap B? Here is a word modifications. So modifications will be correct answer for gap B. So I repeat the line. The same can be said about a motorcycle rider with some modifications. These are all very gap C. All very. So which will be the correct answer? Here is a word visible. Visible is the correct answer for gap C. So these are all very visible. But behind all, there is something that keeps working unseen, and that is the central processing unit, CPU. Your brain is here compared with CPU. CPUs are gap D, intelligent machines that are programmed to do specific jobs under fixed conditions. So which will be the correct answer for gap D? Here is the word artificially. So artificially is the correct answer for gap D. CPUs are artificially intelligent machines that are programmed to do specific jobs under fixed conditions. And gap E, which will be the correct answer for gap E? here judgments. Judgments is the correct answer. So fixed condition and judgments. But the human brain is intelligent by dash. So which will be the correct answer for gap F? Human brains is intelligent by, here is the word nature. So nature will be the correct answer for gap F. I repeat the line, but the human brain is intelligent by nature. It is the most. Gap G. For gap G, sophisticated is the correct answer. It is the most sophisticated machine that is able to operate on ever-changing conditions and standards of judgment. As conditions in the traffic keep, gap H, changing, keep H. So which will be the correct answer for H? Invariably is the correct answer for gap H. As conditions in the traffic keep invariably changing, this virtue of sophistication of your brain must be at work when you are gap I. So for gap I, driving is the correct answer. When you are driving, driving is the correct answer. The difference between traffic in the roads and highways and racing circuit must not be gap J inside you, must not be dash inside you. So which will be the correct answer for gap J? Here is the word blurring. Blurring is the correct answer for gap J. So I repeat the last line. The difference between traffic in the roads and highways and racing circuit must not be blurring inside you. So here is the clause test with clues, and here is the solution of question 2. Number A, ahead. For gap B, modifications is the correct answer. For gap C, visible is the correct answer. Gap D, artificial is the correct answer. For gap E, judgment is the correct answer. Gap F, nature. Gap G, sophisticated is the correct answer. For gap H, invariably is the correct answer. For gap I, driving is the correct answer. And for gap J, blurring is the correct answer. And I request my students to write down the answers in your khata. Now dear learners, question 3, complete the following passage with suitable words. It also called clause test without clues. There are no clues for this gap filling. You have to fill the gaps with your own words, with your own way. So let's start. Traffic jam is one of the major problems in our time. It is a very gap A affair in big cities and towns. So which will be the answer for gap A? It is a very common affair. You can use common for gap A. It is a very common affair in big cities and towns. Our population has gap B very fast over the last 50 years or so. So you have to think which word will be correct for gap B. I think you can use grown. Our population has grown very fast over the last 50 years or so. And you can also use increased. Our population has increased very fast over the last 50 years or so. And you know that for clause test without clues, you can use a lot of words, a lot of options which will be suited for this gap. The dash of vehicles has also gone up. So which will be the correct answer for gap C? I think number. The number of vehicles has also gone up. But our roads are not broad, gap D, to accommodate so many buses, trucks and cars. So which will be the correct answer for gap D? I think it will be enough. So but our roads are not broad enough. Our roads are not broad enough to accommodate so many buses, trucks and cars. Slow moving vehicles, gap E, rickshaws and baby taxis have added complications to the problem. So which will be the correct answer for gap E? I think like. You can use or you can write like for gap E. Slow moving vehicles like rickshaws and baby taxis have added complications to the problem. On top of that, drivers are not very willing to dash traffic rules. Willing to, which will be the correct answer for gap F? Follow. You can use follow for gap F. So I repeat the line. On top of that, drivers are not very willing to follow traffic rules. They often, gap G, impatient and try to go gap H of one another. So which will be the correct answer for gap G and H? For G you can write become. They often become impatient and try to go. For H you can write ahead. So they often become impatient and try to go ahead of one another. Dash traffic signals. So which will be the correct answer for gap I? Violating. You can use violating for gap I. So I repeat the line. They often become impatient and try to go ahead of one another, violating traffic signals. Sometimes they, gap J, recklessly and meet humble road accidents. So which will be the correct answer for gap J? Drive. Sometimes they drive recklessly and meet humble road accidents. So here is the solution to question 3. I request my learners to write down the answer in their khatas. Question is common for gap B, grown or increased. For gap C, number is the correct answer. For gap D, enough is the correct answer. For gap E, like is the correct answer. For gap F, follow is the correct answer. For gap G, become is the correct answer. For gap H, ahead is the correct answer. For gap I, violating is the correct answer. And gap J, drive is the correct answer. Now we will discuss some open-ended questions. Question 4, answer the following questions. You know that from the passage you have to face some questions, and that means MCQ type questions with clues, cross test without clues, and some open-ended questions. I have made some questions for you, and I have already given some answer, sample answer for you, so that it will help you to understand the passage better. Question A, how do CPUs and brains differ? Very important question in the context of this passage. How do CPUs and brains differ? Answer is, a CPU can perform limited number of jobs under set conditions, but a brain can perform unlimited number of jobs even under varying conditions. So this is the difference between CPU and human brain. A CPU can perform limited number of jobs, whereas a brain can perform unlimited number of jobs. Question B, how do ever-changing traffic and the sophistication of the brain match each other? I repeat, how do ever-changing traffic and the sophistication of the brain match each other? Answer is, the question is the two match each other because the traffic is ever changing and the brain is also ever developing to face those challenges. So traffic is ever changing, at the same time brain is also ever developing. Question C, how do traffic in the roads and highways and racing circuit differ? Very important question. How do traffic in the roads and highways and racing circuit differ? Answer is, the question is that traffic in the roads stands for uncertainty and busy activity, whereas highways and racing circuits stand for less busy activity, although some uncertainty also prevail there. Question D, how is conscience a factor of a vital difference between man and machines? Very important question. You know that there is a difference between man and machines. Machines have no conscience where human beings have conscience. This is the vital difference between man and machine. Now go to the answer. A machine always performs set programs. It can never go beyond this, but the conscience of a human being always inspires a man to act up according to the situation. So, in keeping with the necessity, it governs an individual to do various things. So, this is the difference between man and machines. Question E. What is the theme of the text? If you want to write the theme of the text, then I will say that natural intelligence is superior to any kind of artificial intelligence. The natural intelligence is superior to any kind of artificial intelligence. This is the theme of the text. Natural intelligence means human brain, and artificial intelligence means a CPU or driving a car or any other machines. Question F. How can you differentiate human brain from CPUs? It is also very important. CPUs are artificially intelligent machines that are programmed to do specific jobs under fixed conditions and judgment. On the other hand, human brain is naturally intelligent. It has natural and original power or capability to cope with ever-changing situations. Here is question G. Why is human brain called the most sophisticated machine? And the answer is human brain has natural intelligence. It has great power to cope with the ever-changing situations. It enables a man to meet any new circumstances. So it is called the most sophisticated machine. Really, human brain is most sophisticated machine. Human brain can cope with ever-changing situation, and it is a gift of the God. Last question, question H. What do you mean by keep your cool? It is a very nice phrase, keep your cool. What do you mean by keep your cool? It means here to have cool brain or to cool down while driving in a difficult moment. It is very important for a driver while drive a vehicle. You have to cool your brain, and you have to cool down while driving in a difficult moment. So thank you, dear learners. I think you have learned a lot from today's lecture. Today I have discussed Unit 4 Lesson 1, and from this lesson we have discussed thoroughly the text, then vocabulary, then summary of the passage, then we have practiced some MCQ questions, clause test with clues, clause test without clues, and then some open-ended questions. I think it will help you understand the passage, and I request all the students to stay at home and try to carry their study with the help of this online class. Stay home and stay safe. Allah Hafiz.